Well, I want to say hello to all of you from around the world. And I also want to say thank you for joining us for this edition of Soulivity Today. We're broadcasting live from our studio right here in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., and on KMET 1490 AM radio in Southern California. My name is Brian Wesley Johnson. And whether you're at home, driving, or even at work, we're always glad you're here with us. We have such an amazing show for you today. And it also includes my lovely co host, Sheila Applegate, conscious life coach and author. Good morning to you, Sheila.
Good morning, Brian. How are you?
How have you been? I haven't seen you in a minute.
I've been doing well. And today is an exciting day because I'm leaving just after the show to go see my kids on the West Coast. So,
Oh man. Oh man. So
yeah.
you can't sing I'm leaving on a midnight plane to LA, something like that.
It's noon,
Um
so,
well,
close.
new. Well, I love your family out there. Uh, they are just fantastic. Sarah and everybody is just A
Yeah.
plus. So I know you're gonna
Yeah.
have a good time. Any special plans that you guys are
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
do?
Yeah, we have a bunch of different. We're going to go see the poppies in bloom in LA, and then we go to
Wow.
Portland and then Seattle to see Justin. So it's just it's a it's a packed trip that's going to be a lot of fun.
Perfect. Perfect.
An
Perfect.
update, you
Perfect. Perfect.
mentioned Sarah, and I want to update because you did a show about the union, and I just wanted to update for
Yes.
anyone listening that the union passed with a 75% yes vote. So anyone supporting them, thank you.
Yeah, it was, I forgot to mention it earlier in the week. Get so busy. And it was like she emailed me, it was like, wow, we did it. And I was like, that's fantastic. And so
Yeah.
I'll be asking her from time to time how things are going and uh, how things are changing as part
Yeah.
of that effort. So fantastic. Way to
And
go,
we should
y'all.
mention it was Brilliant Corners, right? For people, if you want to listen to
Yes.
the video from
Yes.
before. Yeah.
Yes. Brilliant Corners. A couple
Brilliant
weeks ago.
Corners.
Yeah, we'll put the link in our chats so that people can watch it. Um Today's show is so important. Um um Sheila, I was reading this amazing article about a poll that was conducted by YouGov in 2021. This was 3 years ago, and this was during COVID.
Right.
It examined how Americans feel about their own bodies, their romantic partner's body and looks, personal grooming habits, and the media's influence on body image. Interesting findings again, and this was during COVID, so this was like people were at home and that kind of thing, so they were able to get some really good statistics. About half, 51% of Americans say they feel pressured to have a certain body type. Women,
Mhm.
60%, are 18 percentage points more likely than men at 42% to say they feel completely or somewhat pressured to have a particular body type. Wow. Most Americans, 62%, who have ever been in a relationship say they worry about what their partner thinks of how they look. I thought that was really surprising.
Mhm.
Three-quarters of US adults, 76%, say the media promotes an unattainable body image for women. And here's one more that we'll share. Among those who are familiar with their body with familiar with the body positivity movement, 58% view it as a good thing for society. So when I read all of these, I couldn't help as a whole to think that there isn't much joy when it comes to
Yeah.
people considering their relationship with their bodies. So I'm glad we're going to have this conversation today where we are going to be supporting people in creating and reclaiming, a joyful experience of their human bodies. And so back with us is Helina Goldstein, author of the Awakening to Joyful Living series of books and co-founder of the Joy Keepers Network. Helina, I'm so glad that you're here because, again, here's something that we don't really talk about that much, right? A lot of times we talk about how to obtain what society dictates as what our experience of our body should be. But we really don't ask the question of what does that mean for us and how can we have a peaceful and joyful experience of what that means for us, right?
Mm. Indeed, indeed. This is, by the way, I don't know if it's a global phenomena, but it's certainly the same in Europe. And I
Yeah.
imagine would be the same numbers. And when you think about it, it's like, imagine people lived in a world where people like thought this way about anything in their life, their houses, their cars, to just start with things and vehicles, and had this feeling, I have the wrong one. It shouldn't be
Yeah.
like that, and
Yeah.
would not enjoy it, would not
Yeah.
enjoy having what they have. That's sadly the reality, but the good part is that it does not have to be like that.
Right. Right.
And so
I
I'm looking
agree
forward
with
to
you
our
on that.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Um, so many rules and so many societal rules. And so I want to help us break through this and help us create more of a special relationship with ourselves, especially our human selves. So let's start here. You know, I think a lot of times when we look backwards to our experience as a child, um, playing with other children, right? That stuff never comes up, right? We're just playing, right? And there's children's of all sizes, hues, your hair color, eye color, and they're all just playing together out on playground, having a blast, right? So you can't help but feel that there's this joyful, playful relationship with our bodies at that point. What do our early memories tell us about our potential in this experience, Lena? And I'll go to you, and then I'll ask Sheila as well.
Well, as you already mentioned, it's our nature to be playful, to have that natural relationship with our bodies and also with other bodies, without judging them, because we simply are in them, so to speak, or with them.
Yeah.
And whereas issues begin pretty early in childhood, and judgment, etc. In the beginning, they're not there. So the playfulness is one part of it. But the other part of it, which I am so fascinated by these days, is I came to think about how I learned to ride the bicycle. Most of us have this memory, like how we learned to ride the bicycle. And what I was thinking, it wasn't like, now I have to learn to ride the bicycle. I have to hold the steer in this way, and this is what I have to do with my legs. None of that. It was like, it was just happening. My daddy would show me, and then he would hold the bicycle, and at some point, and the body kind of plays with it, and at some point you go like, I'm doing it. It's happening, right?
Right.
This is our natural way of developing our skills. And babies from day one train and develop their physical skills all the time, naturally and playfully, without involving their minds at all. And this, among other things, is an amazing potential, that when we are connected with our bodies, there's so much more we can learn, and in such a natural and joyful and actually effortless way, even if it can be challenging.
I love that. I love that. Especially the bicycle thing, right, Sheila? I mean,
Yeah.
no one tells us, oh, you have to ride the bicycle this way and all this kind of stuff. We just do it. as well as nobody tells us that you have to play with the other kids in a certain way, or you can only play with the kids that look like this, right? That may come later, but initially kids don't even think about it, right?
Right.
I mean, do you remember those moments when you were a kid?
Yeah, I do. And it's interesting because the bike is something, we did just ride just for fun too. I think um when Helena, when you were talking about it, I remember and I think I was in college. My dad became a clown and he was learning to do the pogo stick. So we were all just like jumping on the pogo stick, learning how to do that as a neighborhood actually. And and we just kept trying, right? And the same thing with hula hoops or, swimming. Well, swimming before the swim lessons was so much fun. And then, it's still fun after, but I think that it is listening to our bodies. It's remembering that our bodies know how to do these things. And for me, now after a lot of health challenges, I'm reminding myself that my body knows how. Like I feel like I have to retrain myself to trust the body, which is why I'm so excited that we're having this conversation, because that is the core of everything we do, is to trust that
Right,
we can do the thing.
right, right. Th- our childhood experiences are such a training ground for information in our adult life, right? And sometimes I think that, like even with my own son today, it's like you put so much emphasis on you have to gain all this experience so you can have all this wisdom, right? But there's a lot of wisdom in our childhood experiences that we don't we kind of filter it out because of what society and media and all these images are telling us, and it's like, well, actually there's a lot of that stuff we're supposed to hold on to, keep, you know that we learn some really really valuable things as a child, playing and hanging out with all types of people, um especially when it comes to, like, we're not thinking about, oh, you know I shouldn't eat this because it's going to make me this, or I have to wear these clothes on my body because other people are going to perceive me this way. I mean, we're not thinking about that. We're just throwing on some clothes, right? Sometimes not putting on enough clothes. Like when I was younger, I'd go outside without shoes and stuff like that. And because I was ready to go outside and play. So this is wonderful, wonderful conversation so far. I hope our audience is enjoying it as well. Listen, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, everybody, we're going to continue this conversation, and talk about this part where we're making this turn, right, to adulthood, and um, you know, think about what changed. Why did we change? What changed? And kind of tackle that. So stand by. We'll have more with Soulivity today in just a minute, probably about 2 minutes. We'll be right back.
Do you see me kneeling on this dual roller called Paraset? It's actually comfortable because of this channel and the softness of the special foam. It feels like my kneecaps are being massaged. When I lie down, my spine is housed in this channel, while the convex rollers massage my muscles. They let go and lengthen. There's a traction effect from my head on the headrest and my mid-back from the rib wrap, which hugs me. When I start the breathing sequence, I feel calm because my cortisol levels are dropping. Lower cortisol means bye-bye constant hunger. Paraset is 40 inches long and much more comfortable than old-style rollers, but it weighs only 10 ounces. Paraset, just like Pilates was, is no longer an insider secret. Do yourself a favor. Reset your parasympathetic nervous system. Defeat stress. Lying, sitting, kneeling, or standing. This unique patented roller helps everyone.
Join us every weekday at 8 a.m. for Soulivity Today.
Whether you're just starting your day or on the road,
Soulivity Today will make your days better.
We will empower you with authentic conversation about the latest news and trending topics. Plus, you won't want to miss our interviews with industry experts.
so sit back, relax, and get ready for a whole lot of fun.
Soulivity Today, weekdays at 8 a.m. only on KMET 1490 AM radio and ABC News affiliate. Hey, we're back with more here on Soulivity Today, where we are discussing how to bring joy into the experience of our body, reclaim it, make it your own. Back with us are Sheila Applegate and Helina Goldstein. Ladies, loving this conversation. Yes, you can see I'm smiling. I'm just smiling here because these are the kind of conversations I want to have, right? We talked about our childhood experience, Helina, and that we really don't think, right? We just react to life, and we have this really ethereal kind of experience, right? Just organic experience of our bodies. Something changes when we become adults because we don't have that experience anymore. We're kind of thinking. In your opinion, what changed? What changed, and when does it change for
Well,
us?
it is a cultural thing. I think we each have our own story, and it may vary, but just to use an example, I grew up as a child. I grew up in Poland, and I have this clear memory. Even when I started at school in first grade, it was still all about play. And then the next year, my father started working in East Germany. That was before the wall and everything. So it was a very strict regime actually, and that influenced everything, including the educational system. And so what I experienced is that I came to second grade, with this, play and stuff, and then I noticed, or not I noticed, but I started having experiences where we were being kind of trained like little soldiers, not in military sense, but in the way we were meant to achieve goals, also physical goals, how fast you run, what you're able to do with your body. It became a discipline. It became a subject of judgment, of criticism, and of being valued or not based on your performance. And that was a huge, huge, huge shock for me. And what happened for me, and I'm sure for others as much, is that I started distancing myself from the body. So I started, and that I think is a more general thing, that we have different stories, but as we have those experiences, there comes a distance between us and our bodies, and all our problems kind of in this arena come from that. I came to think of another example that I would just mention shortly, is that I used to play music, so there's a lot of conversation there about how do you treat your instrument. And musicians know that the moments where the music was flowing most freely was when they felt at one with the instrument. And most musicians, most of the time, do not have that feeling for the same reason, because we are so used to train our body and train our instrument rather than being it and breathing it and letting it play. So that's what happens. We start having and using the instrument rather than being the instrument.
Wow. Yeah. Brian, we're not hearing you. I'm not hearing you. Are you, Halina? No. Okay.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Loving this. Can you resonate with that, Sheila, as well? What Helina was talking about?
Yeah. And you know what? It almost it comes close to bringing tears to my eyes to think about that shift and how young that it was. And I feel like I had I had amazing summers where we had a summer home on the lake with a great neighborhood. So that gave me that freedom to keep that alive. But when I think
Yeah.
about school and the organized sports, the comparativeness of do it this way, and comparing student to student. And Brian, as you were talking, it's even not even just about the body, but how we're taught so early
Yeah.
on, retaught to think in a different way, to
Yeah.
not trust our instinct, to not trust ourselves, and to have this programming to,
Right.
which it's not militant here, but it is definitely um, making us subordinate at a very young age,
Mm.
and in that we
Yeah.
stop to trust ourselves and find the joy in being in the body. So I feel like I've spent most of my life outside of my body, working in the spiritual realms more, and worked really hard throughout my life as I got older and understood it, to literally get back into my body. Um, I'm not complaining because it took me in great directions, but at the same time, I don't think that that's as uncommon as maybe I believed it to be.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what you're talking about, Sheila, is actually the norm, right?
Mm.
I mean, this
Mhm.
is this is um again, there was a study, longitudinal study. I've got to find out what college it was with, or what organization it was with, and it had to do with attitudes around just skin color, right? Which is very similar to what we're
Mm.
talking about.
Mhm.
Mm.
And children early on, like young children, after a certain period, I think it's during the identity stage from 4 to 7, I think that's where it starts to begin, where parents start to imprint their fears and judgments
Mhm.
about the world onto their child, right? So asking questions like, based upon the outlines of children were exactly the same. There was these illustrations, but they just changed the skin color, right? And so they
Right.
would ask children, who's the good kid, who's the bad kid, da 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 da, and it would
Mm.
change based upon skin color. Well, that didn't come from them, right?
Right.
Because early on, when kids would play, they would just play with everybody. It was imprinted on them. And
Mhm.
so I think the same is true with our experience of the world, which includes our bodies, where our parents' fears, good, bad, or indifferent, where they learn the same thing from their parents and their parents. And so these generational things where the fear just comes in. It's like this fear and protection, and oh, you got to be this way and that way. And you got to make sure you're around these kind of people, or around, have this kind of body so people won't talk about you. I mean, all this stuff comes through. And then you got the media who just reinforces it.
Mhm.
Mm.
Right.
Very true.
Right.
Yeah. Do you have a memory of that personally, Brian? That of like that switch for you?
Um, that's a good question. I would say yes. I would say the one memory that I remember specifically is, I'm sure you've heard of the talk that that black men give their black children, specifically black young boys, around interactions with the police. This is the
Mhm.
clearest example of it, right? Where, um based upon generational racism, discrimination, that kind of thing, my dad wanted to make sure that I knew how to be around police. Before that, it didn't matter. I would see police all the time and this and that. Hey, how you doing? And that kind of thing. But as I got older, he came to me and said, listen,
Mhm.
if you get pulled over, da, 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 make sure that your hands are, up and available, and all this kind of stuff. And so unfortunately it happens And I can tell you that a few times it actually was very beneficial because of our experience, and that's a whole nother show. But it changed how I experienced my world around me and what was available, what wasn't available, how I had to navigate certain things. And so that's the clearest example that I can think of immediately. You know,
Right.
other
Thank
stuff they
you.
weren't so. Yeah, other stuff they weren't so. They were kind of progressive around other stuff, like, hey, go out and hang out, da 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 da. You know,
Mhm.
but yeah, yeah. Um, this is a really important question because it really, this experience of childhood to adult and what changes and what um, scripts do we write for ourselves, Helena, is just vitally important, just not in the experience of our bodies, but like decisions that we make around how we want our life to be. Because so I want to just stay on this for a minute before we go to break, or maybe we'll just go into our next question. Helena, for you, what I get from you is, listen, you got to know the difference. You have to understand the difference between what was happening as a child and what your experience is today and what the learned behaviors were, so that you can you can actually make a change if that's what you want to do. Am I right about this?
Absolutely, and
Okay.
the um, this is at the very foundation of who we are as humans in our world, and I can actually relate very much to both of what you said, what you, Brian, described. I know from my Jewish family, you know, different talk, but there's also the talk for the same reasons. But in general, what I noticed, first of all, I also had a journey for many years where I more and more disconnected from the body. I connected more and more with my mind, because it was such a lovely and creative mind. It was easy to escape there.
Right.
But at some point, I realized how it limited me to be disconnected from my body. So a journey back started by now many years ago. But even right now, as we speak, for the last year, I've had so many experiences where I rediscover my body, and it blows my mind to see what is possible for me, which I didn't think was possible for me, and certainly not now where I'm reaching the 70s. And what I'm discovering is how much it's about letting go of the number one safety thing I had in my life, namely control. I was so trying to control my body, my life, my everything. And what I'm discovering in every area of life, but also relationship with body, and again, I think that's general, is as I let go of the control, the body starts coming back. And then it starts showing me miracles. And it's fun and it's joyful. But this is like the most important thing, perhaps. Like, how about starting discovering things instead of controlling them?
Wow. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Again, I agree with you completely and wholeheartedly. Right. I mean, we learn. I mean, that fear, that fight or flight fear, and all the things that we learn around our world around us. You know, this has been passed down. That in a way is out of love, right? It's out of, I mean, trying to protect our children from harm and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I get it. I get it. And at the same time, these are the things that aren't necessarily serving us anymore, individually and as a society as a whole. Because you said earlier, Helena, the image, body image, and how we look at ourselves and how we perceive other people will look at us and all this stuff isn't just germane to America. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. My guess is the places that it doesn't exist is where people don't really get a lot of media. So they're like in their own kind of cultural things. Um, but my guess is even those places have been influenced a little bit by more Western philosophies around stuff like this. So I'm so happy that we're digging a little deeper. Listen, just going to do a quick reset. Listen, everyone, welcome to Soulivity today. Glad you're here. We are talking about reclaiming the joy of our existence with our human bodies. With me today are Sheila Applegate and Helina Goldstein, and we're just having this fantastic conversation about this. I'm loving that we're digging a little deeper, and I hope people are getting a lot out of this. And if people out there, you want to tell us about your experience, or you have a question or comment, just post to our live feeds and we'll bring you in on this. Or if you have a question later on, feel free to do that and we'll come back and answer. And if you're a little shy, you can even email us at soulivity@soulivity.com. So we talked about where we were, where we came to be as adults. How do we use joy, Helina, to transform beyond the physical limitations, regardless of what our present conditions are as adults? What say you, my friend?
Well, the first thing is to ensure that we have a connection with joy, which is a practice, but it's not a difficult practice. But the essence of it is really to start doing things for a different reason. So have joy as your reason, and then be a little bit creative and let me give you a very practical example. So in my younger days, I believed I had issues with my weight. Could discuss it, but speaking of the image, right? I had the image that I needed to lose my weight, and so I would kind of train myself and try to control my weight in different ways, and it was very negative experiences in many ways, and definitely not with lasting results. At this time of my life, I'm learning to walk much more and hike much more, and part of it is losing a little bit of weight, because it has been like and this is not a general thing, not at all that we should all do it, but for me personally, because of my story and my ancestors, I needed to dare to lose a little bit of weight, and what I came to think about is I could dance. I love dancing. So not running, no hard regime, no nothing. Just dance after a meal. That's what I do. This old lady.
Oh man, I love it.
I love it. So it's joy, it's movement, it's free because it's dance, no rules, just the music and me and whatever I feel like at any given moment. And it is effective, actually. Something good happens, and I enjoy it, and it changes my mood to even more joyful. So a lot of things good things happen at the same time, just because the foundation of it is joy, more than anything else.
Wow. You know, Sheila, as I'm hearing this, I think we all know why this matters to us, right? Why should people think that this matters for them? You know, what can you give them around this?
Well, first I want to smile because Helina, Brian and I have talked on other shows where we both dance in the middle of the day and around,
Yeah.
just dance, often without music on for me.
Exactly.
Even.
Exactly.
But I think it matters because it is bringing joy into our body, and that's
Yeah.
going to create health in itself, and it's freeing ourselves from all of the the dogma and the brainwashing and the surrendering into negative thoughts that we've done throughout our lifetime. I had a similar thing. I really try to recreate the joy of the childhood for myself. We just got a rebounder, which is for those people who don't know
Oh,
that it's one of those small trampolines. And when Zach talked about getting one, I'm like, oh yes, I want one. I always wanted one. I used to beg for a trampoline, and that was one of my favorite things to do. So to have that in the house, and then when we were in Kansas with Zach's nephew, we were, helping him on the swing. And then I'm like, I want to swing. I'd been wanting to swing for a long time, but since my kids grew up, I was like, somehow thought I shouldn't swing. We have a park across the street with 2 sets of swings. And I think, and it's about, and I thought, why wouldn't I just go over there? By the way, I do now. I've swung several times. We even, when Maximilian was here, we even did the spinny thing, the
oh
world,
man.
yeah. And
Wow.
it just brings joy. So part of it was, what will people think of me? And I mean, I'm already out there. People already have thoughts of me. Why not add joy to the thoughts,
Right.
right? And then the other
Right.
thought was, can my body do this? And one of the things is that because of some of the joint issues I have from my autoimmune and things, you know, I've been afraid of falling, and I've fallen. And I changed my mindset to, I'm really good at falling, because I really am. Like I can do really bad falls and get up and heal myself and go, just like a little kid. But that's been training myself. And I think
Right.
that's the importance, because our bodies will work for us. They're
Right.
designed to work for us. And when we remember, and I put a slash in that too, remember with that, we reconnect with that, we get in harmony and we do get younger. And Halina, I think that's a perfect example. I feel like you're getting younger at an age where you thought you should be getting older,
Yeah.
Exactly that. Very
Yeah.
strange and
I
wonderful.
love it. I love it. I love it. Oh, my cheeks, my face cheek. I'm like smiling. I'm smiling so much. They're starting to hurt. Joyfully hurt, I should say. Listen, we're going to let that sit with our audience for a second as we take another quick break, everybody. We'll be back with more of Soulivity today as we talk about, reclaiming joy with our bodies with Helina and Sheila in just a second.
Hi there, Sheila Applegate here with some exciting news. I've joined the incredible Soulivity team as the host of the new Consciously Awesome live show, where I will be sharing insights to help you discover your full brilliance and claim the vibrant life you deserve. So tune in every Wednesday right here on Soulivity TV to join the fun, and remember to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss a single episode. Have an awesome week, and I will see you on Wednesday.
Have you ever asked the question, if I was to be anything, what would I be? Regardless of money, regardless of status, beyond popularity and fame. Living your passion, feeling your life has purpose. Soulivity is a space to nurture that which lives in all of us. A place where work can become play, and doing what we love creates the dreams of a lifetime.
Hey, we're back with more here on Soulivity today as we talk about reclaiming the joy that we can feel in our bodies. Back with me are Sheila Applegate and Helina Goldstein. Just want to keep talking about this part of how we can reclaim joy in this experience beyond physical limitations. Helena, what are some of the steps? What are some of the things that you're thinking of that, people can start this process?
For me, it's really just one thing, and that is learning to first to reconnect with joy. And the simplest way of doing it is to start connecting with your sense of gratitude. So start getting to know that feeling of gratitude. And while we tend to connect gratitude with something specific, like I'm grateful for this, I'm grateful for that, there's a certain feeling that comes with that. And then you can remove the thing. Stop thinking about the thing, but remember the feeling. That feeling is joy, really. And the next step then is, and this is a practice, but a wonderful practice. So who doesn't want to feel like that all the time? So as we get more acquainted with that feeling, then we can consciously bring it into anything that we do. So for example, also into physical practice. I want to bring an example because it kind of brings it all together, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure.
So the reason all this started for me a year ago is because I've heard about a trip to Japan where you hike between temples and visit temples. So it's very demanding physically. And my first reaction was, I cannot do it. And my next was like, I want to, I have to, I would love it. And that started the whole thing. So this is why I'm hiking, for a joyous reason. But then I really applied that. So the other day, I stretched my hike even more than I used to. So I was walking longer. And at some point during the hike, I noticed that my legs I feel like a workhorse, like, leg after leg. And it was, I was getting tired and it was painful. And that was a wake up call. So every time there's an experience like that, it's a wake up call. For me, it was like, where's the joy here, right? So back to joy and connecting with joy, and then bringing it consciously into the body, into the legs. And it takes, like, when you get used to that, it takes no time, like literally. The next thing that happened, and it blows my mind every time, was like, my body doesn't feel heavy anymore. I have plenty of energy that I had no idea. I don't know where it comes from. It comes from joy. It was there. And also most of the pain was gone, like that. Because joy opens to the energy flow, but there's also a transformation happening, but also we transcend it. We stop identifying with the pain. We now identify with the joy, and it's a completely different experience. So plus there's this sense of wholeness in a different way, like, oh, my body, my joy, my soul, everything comes together. And it's not complicated. It's really, really simple. All it takes is the willingness to keep coming back to joy, and keep bringing it into whatever we do with our bodies.
Wow. Sheila, I love this because it's like our foundation becomes that place, right? And I have seen y'all, I've seen this work where, you put your hands out and someone tries to push your hand down, right? And if you're talking about more positive things, joy, love, they can't push your hand down, right? They can't push it down because you're in the flow of the universe. But when they talk about more negative things and you try to keep your hand, you can't keep it up. You can't keep your hand up. And so I look at that as, Sheila, what Helena was talking about, where you want to sabotage your life in terms of experiencing all the abundance of love and joy and all that. Start telling yourself you can't have it, or that it's impossible, or this kind of thing. That will become your reality. But if you bring this other part in, right, it's like it opens you up and your body responds to what you're trying to achieve. And you'll have more energy, you'll have all these kind of things. I mean, I just love it. I just love it. What were you thinking when she was talking? Because I could see you smiling there.
I know. I was thinking about children and how when they get a boo-boo,
Yeah.
we kiss it,
Yeah.
we give them a hug, and then we distract them. Or if they're upset, or if they think they can't do something, we distract
Yeah.
them into something joyful so they can keep doing it. Why do
Right.
we walk? Almost every child walks to their parents, right? They get up and they're walking
Right.
for something that they want to do, and that's such a joy from that moment. And I thought, well, we can just be our own parents, right? We can
Right.
baby that part of ourselves. We can not baby it as in, make it, like reduce it, but
Right.
in embracing it and in guiding it and retraining it as we
Right.
would if we were a parent. Like if your
Right.
child was doing this, what would you do? You know?
Right. Right.
That's what I
And
was
I'm thinking, thinking about that too. I'm thinking about the fact that when children, let's say they're on a swing and they fall right off the swing, and they get some encouragement from their parents, kiss the boo boo, whatever. What do? They go right back to the swing that they just fell off of, and they start swinging again, right?
right.
So it's not like, oh well, I should be afraid of the swing now
Mm.
because I
Right.
fell off of it, right? That's
Right.
not, no. Yeah. So yeah, Helena, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I think that's probably the number one thing, right?
Mhm.
Bring that joy in there, through gratitude, because I think that's also, like, I love the fact that you connected those two, right? That feel just innately grateful for just this life, everything that's part of this life, not your you can be grateful for your car and all that kind of stuff and the material things, but be grateful for your life, just this experience and all the stuff that has led you to this point, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, all of it, all of it. And joy will come in,
Mm.
and from that point, keep stepping, right? Keep taking another step and make that a practice, and your life will transform itself, and you'll have this more joyful relationship with your body. So thank you to both of you. Man, this has been wonderful.
Mm.
You guys are so good.
Indeed.
You guys are so good. I love it. Speaking of joy, while we have time left, let's get to some shameless plugs here. I was part of something really, really special at the beginning of the year with you guys, called 7 Days of Joy. And, both of you and I agreed. I'm like, listen, people need to know that that experience is available to them every day right now, and that the videos and all that and it's free, and that kind of thing. And it's the 7 Days of Joy, Rest, and Reweaving Wholeness. I mean, we did this at the beginning of the year, and if you sign up, you get to view all these videos for free. And Sheila, I'll go to you first and I'll go to Helena last about this experience. What was your experience of this, really quickly?
It was such a great way to start the new year, but I think it would be a great way to start any cycle. And I even want to go back and listen to them again because
Yeah.
there was so many different speakers that joined us, and conversations that we had, and aspects of joy that they're just great reminders.
Wow. What about you, Helena? What would
I feel exactly the same way, and also we had some of it were like workshops as such. And one of them that I came to think was the breathing workshop with Zachary Hansen. So a way of
Yeah.
learning to breathe that helps the body to relax more and to open more to joy and to love and to light. So there are workshops. Some of the videos are something that you can continue working with in very specific ways. It's a beautiful gift to give yourself.
Oh man, I love it. And so everyone, you can sign up and enjoy these 7 Days of Joy every single day for free. This is all free, guys, by visiting joykeepers.org/7 days. That's one word. It's joykeepers.org/7 days. That's number 7 and then days, one word. Now we're going to put that into our chats as well. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. Man, this was a great show. Woo!
Thank you.
I'm like,
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm
both.
ready to
It
go
was
out
fun.
and spread some joy and give myself some joy and all that kind of stuff. Again, this is a really important conversation because we take ourselves wherever we go. And we take also the limiting behaviors and the sabotage and stuff like that if we're not dealing with it. So we take that with our relationships with others. We take that with the relationship with ourselves. And so, if you're thinking that maybe I'm not want to do that anymore, here's a way to do it. Here's the way to get out of it and to shift and grow and create a better life experience for yourself. Life was meant to be good, as my friend Howard Caesar would say. And so here's a way for you to experience some really good in your life. So thanks to both of you, Sheila and Halina. I really appreciate both of you. Listen, we're running out of time. Just want to remind everyone to visit soulivity.com and read some of our latest and greatest articles that are there. Some really great interviews that we've done with some amazing people, including, I've been talking about this a lot, but D'Angelo Thompson just did this fantastic interview with Belinda Carlisle of the Go-Go's. Remember those guys, ladies? Oh man, they were great. So go check it out at soulivity.com, as well as all our other content that's inspiration for your passion and purpose. Listen, also want to remind you really quickly to subscribe to us on social media so that you can learn about tips and everything around things that we're doing with Soulivity. Listen, we're almost out of time. This is Brian Wesley Johnson saying thank you for joining us. Come back and watch us Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. Eastern or 8 a.m. Pacific time on KMET 1490 AM radio. Until next time, keep working that passion and purpose, and you're going to create that high quality life today. Bye for now. See you next time.
This work is subject to copyright owned by Affinity Global LLC. Any reproduction or republication of all or part of this is expressly prohibited unless Affinity Global LLC has explicitly granted